is here, connection to.
So let me talk a little bit about the next dance. This dance is called Alanta. And the reason why I chose this dance is because when I went to Ghana, I actually came upon a place that had never been colonized. How many times did we ever hear about this? Right? A village called Wa, small village. Nothing written about their history, all oral tradition. We came in, Jade and I and my team, we got to visit with the chief and all the elders and the baby chief. And they told us a story about how they escaped the colonizers. They came into the village. So there were 5 caves that way they were able to hide the entire community in. And they talked about how the Hippo sanctuary helped them to cross the river. And when the colonizers tried to cross over the Hippo's backs, they drowned them. And they talked about how they hid inside of these caves. And when they all got inside of the caves, the porcupines came and blocked each of the entrances so that when the colonizers tried to enter, they shot them with their poison needles. So that's how they were able to escape, being enslaved. And we don't hear enough of those stories. So I told the chief that I was going to come back with some students from Baltimore City, and I wanted him to personally tell them these stories that are not written and that the stories that we've never heard. But this is another ethnic group that was colonized as well. They are fighters, they are hunters, they are forest people, and I thought it was very encouraging for our students to learn more about those cultures of those people because we're at war, right? So we have to train our children to fight, and we fight for our hearts in this space. So this is Balaka.
So what I'm gonna do now, we can just give a one more hand. We want to recognize leaders within our community, done tremendous work out here, for the global. So. Before I move on, for a second. Individuals who have done tremendous work for the global. First, person I would like to bring up is Brother Cosby. How you doing? Thank you. Delegates off the run, that's not here. It says. If you mind reading this citation.
So on behalf of Maryland General Assembly, it's official citation, hereby known to all, the sincerest congratulations are offered to Christine in recognition of your many years of service to the global active community and creating and educating youth in the global active presence in the world. Signed on 5/5 by delegate of St. John 41.
All right, give him a small and. Second of what his wife's birthday is today. And he came. Thank you. And she is a principal in another city. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Can we sing that birthday? We got some of that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. My grace. Sounds like it's all the way from here from baseball. You've done tremendous work you've done, and I want her to take some time to share even some of the work that she has done in Ghana for years, and she has developed the peace and the condition. And so we not enough hold and I was going to talk to him. Probably been about a lawyer. So, I'm going to say it to me, bro. Thank you. But if you may, you know,
technically, I'm not sitting in state, and very well I can see. Just know there are rules to it, but yes, I'm just 2 rings away. Actually held from Martinsville, Virginia. And I have been here in Baltimore for about some years now. Long time. But I've been traveling to Ghana. That's the only country I've been to at this point. I seem to have gotten, I kind of always say stuck there, but not really because I choose to be pro-figures. But I started going, it was in 1999, I think it's my first trip. And just fell in love with Ghana. I always had a great love for Kwame Nkrumah and African, Ghana specifically, African Joe. But once I went and saw the need and saw that I could make a difference, I just kept going. So I first went on a trip to 20 people on the bus. But, that wasn't the greatest experience, but but the people were chasing us down, begging for pencils, and of course, after being here, some other places for a while, that's like, is that real, or they really, or is that just part of the, you know, trying to get something, but literally, they were in need of school supplies. And me, love school supplies, which is a personal little thing of mine, I poured paper and pencils and pretty planners and all of this, right? And so I was like, you can do pencils and pens. So that's sort of where it started. So I would go and I would get one suitcase full of school supplies and the other with my essentials. And I did that for years, and then it just grew and expanded into me commissioning 5 computer centers and libraries in different regions in Ghana. And I'm proud of that because many people who are from there have never been to all of the different regions that we have commissioned libraries, computer centers. And you know, here people don't know the other side of that. So you can imagine there are people also in other countries that stay in their particular area and don't travel. And so I just rose and loved Ghana. After doing a lot of work there, the elders in the traditional region of Australia in the central region of Ghana. So I did to institute as a queen mother. And then also, if I was a man, I would be a chief. Here at the top with distinction first. So we know that queen mother is greater than a chief, but that's not really how I was perceived there. However, you know, but we were all the chiefs and the king.
Yes.
So we know that just how things are set up there, I'm really sort of, I won't say beneath a chief, but most of us that are not born in Africa and are made queen mothers or chiefs are given the title of Inkwesawaki, right? Just meaning chief or queen mother of your belt. So as opposed to being from lineage, it's someone that they saw fit to in school so that they'll continue to help and assist. Someone who's been showing record of helping the community and will continue to do so. So I develop whether it's education or health or any way that the traditional area of what we call village would be. So that's the title. And so I haven't traveled there since 2019. However, I send boxes when it's small spirit, you know, a little irritated about that. But every year I send supplies, whether for the health center or whether for the schools or for Queen Mother in one area. However, I have adopted 5 different areas. So I send whatever I can to whatever they need. If it's a field doctor, monitor, a health center, or if it's a school projector, you know, whatever it may be, in addition to the basic supplies, that's what I try to offer. And so you are welcome to contribute. I will be traveling again soon. I just want to gotten a little older and I'm tired of having the laws because I have people that I meet there that assist me. However, I'm tired of getting on this plane here on these his sides of the world and going by myself. So I kind of just halted that for a while. So I haven't been since 2019. But if there's an interesting group and you want to go, if you want to not see just the tourist stuff and you want to go into traditional areas, I only serve in traditional regions, meaning regions that do not have a large church that is there giving, usually that's done with conditions. So it's usually here takes this Bible, take, you know, this type of theology or methodology before we'll give you this food or before we'll give you this medicine or before we'll give you this food. No offense to the Bible. However, if you are trying to give and be of service, you can go with house trees and without condition. So I specifically find rural areas that practice their traditions. And so that's how I selected my area. So if you want to go and see that side in addition to the other side, then let me know. I'd love to be able to demonstrate. So it's, first of all, it's an opportunity to look at the company of thank you. So, just one more time, clap for yourselves, praise the Lord. So we acknowledge as an organization, every young person is able to travel to the continent for their 18th birthday. We also acknowledge the development of young people that do that during their matriculation to undergraduate. Kate has been able to do that. And so as an organization, we have 3 presentations for her today. What you may notice is that today I'm adorning a clay gate bead. This bead is made in the soil of Ethiopia. Many people don't know that Africa was once called Ethiopia, the entire mass of that land. And so the soil, that region called Ethiopia is the embodiment of the entire continent. This was her first time going to Africa's soil, and so today we're going to spend some of the movie. While Jade was on the ground, she had the ability to adorn the dress and wear of the Queen Mother. She was taught to dance. I'm sure that people will tell you something about that, and perhaps she already did. Did you want to say a word about that, Jade?
Cafe is the dance that's done for the king. So it's done in support by the Queen Mother and the spiritual people of it. And each hand means something significant. I remember people learning, and I did the wrong hand, and it was after. But each is very intricate movements, very intricate nuances in the head and eyes, and it's done to lift up the king. They absolutely love. They love the king. So it's a very special movie.
In the Ashanti region, the king, we also call him the Hene. And the king, I.e. Hene, and Queen Mothers gave Miss Jade the permission to wear that very sacred fabric and adorn these beads. And so we want her to carry that with her wherever she goes. Last but not least, this fabric was handmade, hand woven in the Adinkra village. It was made to celebrate the journey that these 7 women made together, allied to women finding their identity. Jake, do you remember your African name?
Yes, it's Atuasu.
Atuasu, yes, and it means peace. So you take this hand woven fabric of peace and then remind you of your journey wherever you go. Thank you for being one of our people.
Okay. So while things are getting set up with Sister Kim, I wanted to bring some individuals who have been working in the global African world for social justice issues, and as well as 6 regions getting representation on the African Union. And so I will bring up Sister Talitha. So recently, there was a major African Union General Assembly, all in Africa, interstate. And this sister was instrumental in organizing Zion diaspora. So she's here from Prince County area. Landon, so I'm grateful for her and her son. So I wanted to give her a couple minutes to share just recently what happened with, folks, Bob, that's important.
Yeah. So, greetings, everyone. Especially being here, part of this event. So, recently, we had an election. It's called the African Diaspora Sixth Region Provisional Assembly election process. It's the grassroots process, and we were able to provide coordinators and pretty much organized in the entire process. 2009 subdivision. So sixth region is the sixth region is the African diaspora, which consists of 9 subregions. I was elected as representative for the USA subregion. So we have for Central America, South America, East Caribbean, there's many subregions. And so we were able to provide an election process in January of this year. And so currently the African Union, I don't know if they are aware of the African Union, but they pretty much organize the laws in over 5 regions in the continent. And so for the past few years, they have been wanting to include the 6 regions diaspora to be a part of the African Union, ECOSOC. So they have 20 seats available for 20 of their 100 seats available for the diaspora. And so, by a simple way, which is the director of the African sixth region elections, was able to put this whole thing together and allow people to be able to vote and choose who they want their representative to be. And so, they want to choose 4 representatives. I personally am one of the representatives for the USA. We got 3 other representatives. Lake Pamela, Aaron Clark, Qatar, and Cecilia Johnson. So we are really excited. Really excited to be representatives for the representing the USA. We have a town hall meeting coming up because ECOSOC is now ECOSOC is the African Union. They will be speaking at our next town hall meeting on March the 15th. Is yeah, it's the 15th, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and that will be via Zoom, which rather happy about that the information, and they will be discussing about legal framework. They're finally in the process of having the 6th region join the African Union to put together a legal framework so that we can find for reparatory justice. And that's like really the mission of the 6th region is to fight for reparations. Reparations is something that our ancestors died for, and it's something that is a big part of the progression of our future and our future generations to come. And so this is what we're going to be discussing on March the 15th. I hope that you all can be on that. And that's pretty much all I want to say about this meeting. So very, very nice to meet everyone.
Thank you very much. So what we have is so what we have is Kim Paul, she's the founder of the director, she's done an amazing job traveling all over the world, opportunities to the tourism space, and he just got an appointment to the African Union. I'll let her talk about that. He's done I'll bring this other thing. That's it. I'll bring this other thing. She's going to show a few videos of the students, the Hopkins students, as well as some of the connection students that are going. Just recognize Dr. Etheridge as well. sorry. Right, so he was connected, 18 years. That 18 years, former teacher. Right? Yeah, not 18, I'm sorry, I just saw some 18 folks like all weekend in Annapolis, so I'm like, something like that. So, got it. Keys, the Keys Department as well. Oh, and they will be going to Ghana as well with this group of connection. So thank you, brother. I mentioned that to you, bro. You got it. Okay.
Yes.
Let me bring this up.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love, such always. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there. When things have been already, things that make the tall trees suddenly the sunshine shining so bright. Oh, I wish it all here. I want you all to clap for Park Heights. Been a long time. And if you drove down this street, Ricestown Road, or this one, Park Heights, you might have noticed that there's a division between this side of Park Heights and that other side of Park Heights. Northern Parkway is the division between disinvestment, blockbusting, redlining, the drug epidemic of 1985. And so when you cross Northern Parkway and you see the dilapidation, and then you're so glad that you get to this oasis, the Sankofa Children's Museum of African Cultures. Clap for them. I know that our organization, the Teaching Artists Institute, we're based here in Park Heights, and I've been working in this community since I was 15 years old. I own a property on Oswego, 4 streets over. And Oswego is a special place. I didn't choose it, it chose me, it chose our organization. There were 5 nations of the Iroquois people. How many people know who the Iroquois are? You see, this is stolen land. And those of us of melanated skin tones, we are the stolen people that were brought here against our will to exploit it. And we've done a good job, our elder race. But we've decided that Park Heights needs to be a new space, not one of disinvestment, not one of dilapidation, but one of healing. And so today, before you leave, we're going to give you all a packet of seeds. Yes. Oswego in the Iroquois language, it means the outpouring of water. That's what it means in their language. Growing up and walking up and down these streets, I didn't know that about Oswego. It was the street next to Shirley. The one way that was a great thing from ancient, and it was getting to Park Heights. I had no idea what the word Oswego means, but adult Kim, she did her homework and her research. And now our office serves as an artist in residence. And our community healing artist, she did her homework too, and she said, Kim, this not only means outpouring, it is the name of a healing earth. And so today, I'm not only here on behalf of the Teaching Artists Institute, I'm here on behalf of our Teaching Artists Institute artists and residents. We're creating transformation across the Oswego corridor. That's what we're calling it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. The Oswego Mall was a government, the federal government-owned building, and now we're looking to take that property back for community-led artist development. We've decided that we're going to plant the Oswego tea. It's a beautiful red flower. We're going to give you seeds and ask that you plant that wherever you're based across the city. Baltimore County, I know some of you came in from Montgomery County. We appreciate both of y'all for coming down. We want you to plant these Oswego tea leaves. Plant them into the soil and save the seeds. Food sovereignty, seed sovereignty, land sovereignty. Our people, we understand the land. We always have. But the land is also the scene of the crime. And so for many of us, we don't want to get our hands dirty. Our young people, they don't want to work too hard. I don't want to sweat too hard because they have been taught that hard work and labor and sweat and dirt, these are signs of inferiority because our people grew the fruit and ate the rind because we have never seen the results of our labor. We have never benefited from our work. But right here in Park Heights, our organization is partnering with institutions like the Sankofa Children's Museum. I remember when they raised the funds to build this building, and Harry and Jeanette said, we won't build it unless they put our name on the front. There's a reason that even though this is the Sankofa Children's Museum of African Cultures, Harry and Jeanette's name is on the front. We want to reclaim Park Heights for our young people. This is new little Africa. You know, I've been to many countries. We gave the young lady Jade a string of these beads, and we told her that these beads represented her first time to go into the African continent. Me, I have so many beads, I can no longer put them around my neck. I just chose 40 or 50 to adorn today to represent my journeys through the continent. But let me tell you this, when I went to Africa, it didn't make me more African. It made me more Black. When I went to Africa, I started realizing how Black I was and how I didn't use my Africanity because they picked us up and brought us here against our will. I remember how my mother would make me dolls by hand. I remember how my grandmother would grind her mint from her garden when I got sick and broke that on my chest. I remember the electric slide. Listen, that's an African dance, young people. I'm trying to let y'all know. And so I'm hoping that this journey, this Sankofa, this remembering for these young people from Connections, when they go back to the continent for the first time, it will make them more Black. They will come back as cultural ambassadors and love their people. They'll come back and say, when I think of home, I'm thinking of my family and the people that make up home is where the heart is. And so I want you all to know being in this building today is what makes it home for me. Park Heights, again, since 14 years old, I've been working in this community and I'm committed to its development. We are in the front to divestment. I won't say much. I've already said too much, but I do want the young people to say a few things for themselves. So if you come in close and gather around, I'm going to put this on our big screen here. We'll start with our college students, because you've already seen the few of them. This is from their journey when we spoke about her. This is As you can see, the sound is not being kind to us. Our organization, we work in 9 countries, 7 of which are on the continent of Africa. I'm so glad there's recently been a boom of people that travel with tours to the continent. But what makes our organization just a little different is that we only do tours to regions where we work all year long. To places where we already have a swatch of land, an office, and a team that's on ground. We're unique because we work in 365 on both sides of the continent. I'm gonna show you some of those experiences that we've had. In the West Coast, we're in Ghana, Gambia, and Liberia. On the East Coast, we're in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. I want to show you some of our work from various regions.
Culture being currency is that we are the currency, we don't have money, we can exchange, we can barter, because we are learning so much ourselves and we are very learning different kinds of dance from African or Tanzanian tradition to Indian dance and like using together. I actually got surprised.
So I'm showing you videos from across our work because it's important for us to remember that the colonial empires, they created these divisions in the continent. They told us that Ghana was separate from Cote d'Ivoire. When we understand that the region of Cote d'Ivoire, known as the Oropoku, the region of Oropoku, that this was a queen mother, and she was from Ghana, and she fled in the dark of night. You see, Oropoku, she was supposed to be the queen mother, and then they told her that you won't be chosen. And so you're gonna be executed.
I'm like, kind of
And so Oropoku, she decided that she would leave in the cover of night. Her small midwifery team, her brother, who would have been the Hene, they left and they traveled from what is now the Ashanti region, or also called Kumasi. They traveled under the cover of night to the region of what we now know as Ivory Coast, or in the French colonial language, Cote d'Ivoire. She was discovered. Somebody told, they said, guess what? Ora is leaving. And they said, no, we have to pursue her into the bush. And they said, why do we have to pursue her? Because her children, even though she's decided that she's okay with not being queen mother, even though her brother has decided he's okay with not being a Hene, her children may come back and be a problem. So execute them, follow them into the bush. Well, Oropoku, she got a prophecy. A shaman traveled with her group. And he came to her and he said, listen, I've received a download from the ancestors. And you can survive. You and your small cohort, you can make it. But there must be a sacrifice. And she said, that's fine, take anybody that has to be sacrificed for the ancestors, anybody at all, take them, sacrifice them right now. And he said, oh, Ora, but this is so serious. The entire Ashanti army is pursuing us. And I'll tell you, they talk about some of the kings and queens or queen mothers and Henes from the Ghanaian or Ashanti region, Ya Asantewaa, and how they hid the stool, you know, that they were clever and this is how they outsmart the colonizer. But They don't say the Ashanti army was massive. In their heyday, the Ashanti army, there was no region in this area that could address or even affront the Ashanti army. They were pursuing small Orkoku and her small cohort. So here comes the shaman, and she says, well, who do we have to sacrifice to make sure that the Ashanti army doesn't win? She said, Laura, it's so serious. The only person we can sacrifice is your newborn son. How many people in here are mamas? The shaman came to Orkoku and said, Laura, the only person that we can sacrifice to make sure that the ancestors are pleased, to make sure that you have the strength to defeat the Ashanti army who's pursuing you as we speak. The only sacrifice greater is your born son, your newborn son. Well, they created a fire just like this. I'm going to show you this before we finish this. They created the fire and they danced around it just like we just saw. Let's give it right. And so they danced around the fire, and Orkoku, she held her baby in her arms, her first and only newborn son. And she danced with them around the fire, side by side. And before they knew it, she took her baby and threw it over the riverbed. And at just that moment, the Ashanti army attacked Orkoku, the shaman, her brother. Well, let me tell you, Orkoku, her brother, and that small cohort, they won against the Ashanti army. Clap for Orkoku. And Orkoku, when you tour the museum, you will know her because she has a face, and on top of her head will be a small baby. I want you all to tell me when you see this Orkoku. And she now lives, and her lineage lives in what is now known as Côte d'Ivoire, or the Ivory Coast.
Wow.
And so I want you to know that these colonial borders that they came to make were done out of the Berlin Conference of 1884 through 85. This year is an anniversary of that conference. So I want you to remember that though we're taking our young people to Ghana, though the Ghanaian flag is this wonderful red, yellow, green with the black star that our brother is wearing right here in the front table. I want you to know that this is a figment of colonial imagination.
Wait.
Our people are one, and that includes us in the diaspora.
Yes.
We didn't stop being African because they took us against our will across that big water and dragged us from its shores. And we're gonna show you how we remind our young people of that.
My name is Jasmine Holmes. I was also communication.
Wait.
As I was the ones in reading, reading experience.
So wait. Always. Always. I know. Why?
So really excited. It's just been a great experience all together. I would encourage anybody to be a part of it. Just putting out really good words to put the positive energy into the community. So you have a positive impact. It's all about the time culture exchange.
Life.
Yeah, it's one of us. Right.
I want to show you one more from the Tanzania group because I feel like I need to bring some male energy to what you're hearing in terms of testimonials. You see, there's a war on our young men. There's an attack on them, and I feel like Africa has a different vibration. This concrete jungle, it vibrates a certain way. And the African continent, that soil, it vibes a different way. And there's something about being transplanted from this environment and just taking it. It moves different. At first, they activated. Miss Kim, there are bugs everywhere. Oh my God, why is everything so slow? But then they begin to decompress without even knowing it. They themselves from within begin to move more slowly. And once they realize that I'm not under attack, I don't need to walk and look over my shoulder, that I am safe, and feel that on a metaphysical level and a physiological level, their pupils, they no longer need to dilate. Their palms, they are constantly sweating. They're no longer in a sense of fight or flight or freeze. They're taking in the experience. Unfortunately, at that point, it's usually time to go home. We have programs where young people can go for the entire semester. It doesn't have to be just 1 week. It doesn't have to be just 14 days. That could be an introduction to an entire shift in their life's trajectory. There's a window of sensitivity where our young people are jailed, the juvenile justice system, the school to prison pipeline is real. And there's a window in time where if you just simply take them out of this environment, all the dumb stuff they do over here, it won't get them into jail for the rest of their life. They won't create a record that follows them in 35 and 40. They can make a mistake and still have time to recover. At some point, you just need to transplant your child. When you see that they are not, if nothing is working, I've tried everything. It's because the after school program is just baby. When you walk out of the school and straight into an environment that is traumatizing. sometimes it needs that transplant. I want to show you this young lady. His accident even did after this story. Same company. That one. But I really got this. Because it's about intergenerational diet. So I think I'm gonna show you from my elders. It's not about censoring our young people. It's about intergenerational diet. Our young people have problems because our elders have problems. And learning is a lifelong journey. Then we'll see something from our elders, and then I'm gonna open it up to you. Because I want you to ask questions. Because I know that everybody in England is gonna take out a trip to Africa. It's like a new thing. I can't stop getting excited. I love it. But I also want you to know that there is a cross-cultural communication and orientation that needs to happen before we get there. There's a certain level of connection that you need with the local people, grassroots and grass tops. Not everybody is ready to immerse you into this experience. And when it's your first time, we want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. Then don't find anybody else. But before you go the first time, let us help you to vet some of the people that you may consider with. Even if you decide you don't want to do this journey with us, let us have talk to some of the people that you may consider going with. As long as you, that's what we want also. So I'm gonna show you the video of this young man. Because I'm so impressed with Nati. I mean, this young man told me I would do theater. Can you make it louder? That's a young man that said, I don't talk in public, I don't do interviews, I don't do theater. Really, I don't do this. I don't even know why I'm here. He felt like having an almost Spain trip to Africa was homework. I didn't believe it. But he did. And by the time he left, he didn't want to leave. Now, one of our help. Because we're always looking for chaperones. We're always looking for the mamas and the papas. Y'all was good, right?
Yes.
Because we take you through the streets and the speeds. We want you to go on airplanes, buses, trains, boats. We want you to see the symbolic landscape of the region, how it moves from the water, how it moves from the mountains, how it moves in the city, how it moves in the village.
My name is Gary, and I enjoy my trip. Everybody has a picnic on. So basically, I need to ask for some first time. I'm here for 1 year. And I'm going to I love the smiles. Everyone's smiling all the time. The food is expensive. Everyone one of the even the rain, outside people will in progress and go to space so much. That will be a lot of trouble. I'm Chase. I can honestly say that it's been an awesome experience. Not only did I feel welcome that I traveled with, but I felt welcome in the people who kind of signed. So it's been a great experience. I look forward to visiting several other parts of Africa again. And I just thank you for welcoming me, and especially you guys. Great job. Great job. Thank you. I'm Belinda, and I came here with my mom, Mama Betty. And basically, so this year was so awesome that I am sick already. So, that lets you know. It's not, yes. I'm Mama Betty.
I do here, very appreciative of everyone for this trip. Even though, locally here in Africa, I just came to do some more cultural exploration. So I can read other parts of Africa and definitely coming back to Tanzania. And next trip is going to be pretty soon, sooner than later. And I'm going to Kenya as well. Yes, thank you.
So I'm gonna stop there and open the floor for questions. I want you all to talk. This is not a presentation. The young people that came and danced, they did a presentation. But this is a conversation. And so now I want you all to open up and ask me, what are some of the things that you heard about Africa before you decided that Africa was a part of you or connected? And what are some of the things that you know about Africa now? So don't all talk at once, because then I'll start pulling people out like the brother in the suit. Yes.
I'm just, let's acknowledge Brother Ross Strait.
Right.
You know not to me, so.
I did. I met Ross Trey in 2013. Story time. That was when he was already well on his way, taking young people to Africa. And I came as a volunteer. And in 2014, there was a group that was supposed to be going to Africa. And I was so excited to work with these young people. Ross, what you want me to do? Let me volunteer. I want to do what's necessary to help these young people go to Africa. Unfortunately, they didn't go that year. But in that process, I developed the A is for Africa program. So the young people that are going to Africa, raise your hands, clap for them. The reason that these young people are going is because 10 years ago, I developed a program called A is for Africa. And I developed that program after working with Ross Trey and seeing how he developed those young people and how he wanted them to be involved. And I said, you know what? This program needs to keep going. And since then, every year, we've had at least 4 or 5 groups to Ghana, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Zanzibar. I want you all to now ask me questions. Start by telling me, what is it that you thought about Africa before you decided that you were also African? And what is it that you feel about Africa now that you know that you're an African person? Yes.
First of all, I'm gonna thank you guys for putting on this amazing event and the work that you do, and I'm gonna clap it up. I'm off with you, son, and I actually went to Ghana in 2017 with Dr. Dave Miller and Omina. And it was a great experience. I know one of the things that I did was I kissed the lake, kissed the soil. And they said, welcome home, Saturday, welcome home. We stayed in an Airbnb, so we didn't really get trenched in experience or in a hotel or anything. But I think one of the turning points, I stayed in Nikai Town, which is where the electrical currents come through. And we were next to a school called St. Michael's School. And what my sister here, St. Mother here does is amazing. And I implore you to get with her to send boxes home for the staples that is necessary. When we went, David Miller was working with the organization and they built a library again. So we took supplies to the children there. And they are so grateful for a pencil or a piece of paper or a book. Stuff that we don't even give any credence to. That's what they love. But the thing that they wanted to impress us. So they wanted to do American things. They wanted to dance and rap and whatever. But they were so polite. And they had all European names. And I would ask them, what is the name that your father or your mother gave? But in the colonization part, they believed that they would be accepted more if they had your second name. When I went to the castles, people were living on top of the castle, actually living there. So the infrastructure may have changed in all those years that I've been gone, and I do plan on going back next year.
Wow.
But it's so much work to be done. They are so grateful. They didn't have books.
Bye.
So y'all be familiar, and watch how that their books look like that. And they were like, hello mom, can I show you? I don't think it's a problem. Hello mom, can I do this for you or can I do that for you? When you go to the villages where there's water, or near the castles, they can take your name. And when you come down, they have raised you your name to take with you or written it on a seashell. And whatever dollars that you give them is gonna impact the whole economy of those children and those families there. So go spend your money, not Walmart, Target, or any of those things. Save your money, put it where it can grow. Take your children and take yourself to the continent. It should be one of the things that you do more than Europe, which I've been to, more than going to the Caribbean and all that other stuff. You need to go home. I said,
Is there someone that has not been?
I just have a comment. One to thank everyone, and especially Ms. Kim. Help facilitate this for our young people. My name is Abdul Salam of Ease Development. I'm one of those funky after school programs that Ken spoke of. But in all seriousness, this connection has come 360 already for us, just in this small space, right? We linked TAI with connections, the Old Mill, to walking distance from here. It's with one of the hubs we have been in for over 10 years. For 10 years, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary this year. We're 100% Black African company over those 10 years, one Afro-Latina. And some of our young people are here today. It was very important for us to assure this trip happened. It kept not happening. Mama D made sure to facilitate and keep pulling with one of those groups that have been trying to go for 10 years or more. So for this to come full fruition is a blessing for us. We also have a property, maybe 3 minutes walking distance from this facility. So again, to make that connection, we have just been blessed. We'll be opening a 5-acre facility that's on the backside of Coppin. We'll break ground this year. With that being said, we will assure to have a presence for San Oakland CAI in that facility. And again, part of that magic, right, is that the whole idea and purpose of that building will be to facilitate generational conversations, in which during the day, we will assure to facilitate programming for elders. We already have a partnership with Coppin State for apprentices and interns, in which we'll bring them in, young professionals, to do work during the day, to work with our young school age, young people that are right here in this building today and up the street. So again, just seeing that magic, we can't wait to get across the borders, to see I always saw some of my young people doing their part for my wife, get my Park Heights. If you're saying that Park Heights are big, right? But to see them, I want to see them go over there and share their culture and vice versa and bring some of that culture back. So again, we just appreciative and we see and feel that metaphysics already. And I just want to end it with 2 things. One, if you're on IG, do our young people a flavor is a phase 1 of favor. If do our young people a flavor and pull out your phones and like He's Youth Ambassadors. He's Youth Ambassadors. These are some of our young people that are going around in the city. It's a violence reduction initiative. It's a violence reduction initiative. Some of those ambassadors will be going over to Africa as well. So again, and the last part of that is these circles are small. These circles are small. So when you're in the same space as people doing significant work, please exchange numbers. It's get a contact, find out where you can do some volunteer work and you can just give back. Because as I said, the elected officials in this city our most important assets that we have are the people. Thank you.
It's, it is full circle. I want to show this video of, Baba Olamide. Because it was that duel that connected us to connections, but it was because of Baba Olamide. But let me tell you how. See, y'all think this is just an event, but our organization, whatever group we take to Africa, we always do what we call a send-off. So this is a send-off for the young people that are actually going and their elders. Clap again for those young people and their elders. This is a send-off because they're coming to the community to say, I'm going on this journey, but I'm taking all of y'all with me. And then when we finish, we do what we call a homecoming. The homecoming is what you saw with the young lady Jalen that already went and came back to say, I'm still connected to this process. Not everybody does the homecoming because that's your choice, right? Before you go, it's kind of mandatory. It's like, oh, I got to do a send off before I get there. But once you get back home, we had 7 college students from Johns Hopkins University in Peabody. She was the only one that came back in because she felt the sense of connection. So we'll do a homecoming. Baba Olamide lived with us to a Thai tour. He went on a Thai tour called the Love King. How many people here are married? How many people wish they were married? How many people might be interested in the love connection? Yeah. Well, we have a tour called the Love King. And Baba Olamide, he's like a love coach. And he's decided, I'm never going to change him here. You have a tour product called the Love King. And we, in this love camp, we bring and encourage married couples to come and rejuvenate their vows. And then we have people that are interested in finding somebody that they already know that this screen check. Do you have a job? You know, these basic things. Do you have a car? Okay, great. What do you want to take? Let's see which one. Well, the love camp is where people that are interested, where they come, and we do that tour. And Baba Olamide, he came on the love camp, and I'm very proud to say that after going to the love camp, he is now married to the woman that he was just dating. I wish he was here. He was one of those that were coming to kill him. And you know what's so crazy about that small circle? Baba Olamide went to Ghana.
It's big.
This is
No, here's the real small story. Baba Olamide didn't happen one. So we were on that trip together. It's a GG story. It's a great story. So we were sitting in one, we were sitting at the Airbnb and we were talking. And he was talking about, you know, we would like to find a new home. So I said, I don't want to hear this stuff. I was so working in. I don't want to be therapist right now. This one is what you know. I said, if you are very good on this trip, if you're a decent mother, and I see it, I'm gonna introduce you to your this next wife. Your wife. I am the one that's introduced him to this wife. And when he saw her, he said, I had 2 women in mind. When he saw Brenda, it was different. He fell in love. That's the thing.
yeah. And after this drink, they got me. So I'm gonna show the video. Right. And I wish he was here. He's getting one of his awards because you just don't know how much he does in the community. Our artists and residents property on Oswego, we got the grant funding to renovate. He gave the contract to him because he's also good with his team, doing so much. We wear so many hats that sometimes we forget that we should acknowledge you with every capacity that you feel in our community. We go back.
Experience that I had travel with some kids. All aspects.
And I mean, we have so many of these, and I just can't pull up Bob Olean because he's giving an award today and he's unable to be with us. So I just wanted to make sure we brought him energy into the space.
On that note, I'm gonna bring up, Delegate Malcolm Ruff. He's here, he's the one that got the citation, he can actually, Delegate Ruff, when officials, like the officials don't show up, so you usually put a sign on the table. On the table, but you showed up today, we appreciate you, but, he got citation and the COSI got citation, and what this Akichi attorney, he's not here, he's in DC, I believe, but I had to, we did have Dr. David Miller as well. Would you like to accept this on behalf of Dr. David Miller? As well as Brother Chris Colvin, I'm like, okay, but I just wanted to acknowledge something I did, and when I was talking about these awards, he's like, why not Ross Trey? I was like, is Ross Trey come to? I'm like, okay, he was both in Ghana, he's still doing half and half years. So, but we, you're a forerunner for all of this work in Ghana, but Delegate Malcolm Ruff has been serving in the House of Delegates for 2 years, or 2 sessions now, and so we're honored. I live in the 41st district. This is the 40th district, and so I don't see any other officials here, but we are proud to, I live in the 40th first, but we work in the 40th as well. But all of us connected into this Pimlico area, and he's instrumental in doing work throughout this Park Heights area. So I just wanted you to take some time and to share yourself and the work as well, your experience. I know you mentioned that you desire to go to Ghana as well. You've already been. That's something
I
like
have
that.
not been,
Okay.
but thank you for the happy, and
That's fine.
good afternoon, everybody. Happy Independence Day. I'm Delegate Malcolm Ruff, and I actually grew up about 7 blocks that way from Keyworth College. So it always means a lot to see people gathering in the name of Black sovereignty and Black solidarity and Black power and Black financial freedom and Black political freedom. And that is exactly what this gathering is about when you're celebrating this heritage. So I'm just honored to be with you all today. I have traveled to West Africa. It was my graduation gift from my mother. Her name is Sister Martha. You might know her. She's been a longtime member of the Griot Circle of Maryland. I used to be a growing Griot when I was coming up under Mama Mary Carter Smith. And so when I graduated from high school, that was my gift from my mother, was to take me to Dakar, Senegal, and to Banjul, the Gambia, and to Sally Portugal. We got to go to the resort there. And then we also went back to where she spent 2 years in the Peace Corps. I don't know who did this, but my brother and mother studied French. She was one of the only Black women to go to Middlebury College up in Vermont back in 1970. And she studied French and went to the Peace Corps and taught English in Abidjan for 2 years and maintained relationships with 2 of her students. So when I got to go with her to Abidjan, we actually went to their compound in the north part of Abidjan, which was an amazing full circle experience. But one of the major experiences that I had was, and I know a lot of folks have had this experience of being able to go through and see the door of no return, but also to be able to walk through the arch of return in the car. And so I want to have that same experience in Ghana. And funny enough, one of my closest cousins that I grew up with, her name is Brianna, took a trip with her friends to Ghana about 3 years ago. And now she, just like we mentioned, just like you mentioned, Sister Chris, is now married to a Ghanaian man. And they live here now. His name is Alex Emmanuel. And they are happily married. They live like right around the corner here in Park Heights. So I'm just honored to be able to be here with you. I hope that you all are able to celebrate to the fullest. And I hope that you all are able to just revel in your accomplishments and what you have contributed. I'm so glad to honor you with these citations. And I hope that we continue to uplift our people forever and ever. And I will always contribute to that. So thank you all for allowing me to be with you all and to have this moment to speak to you all. Much respect and love and peace and blessings.
I did have another citation for Dr. Elijah Montezuma. Yeah, I did, earlier. Okay. But I just want to go tell everyone this one. Right.
Thank
What, you got this one? Gotta get off the subject. Oh, okay. It's good. Great. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
So we did want to hear what others had to say, but at this time, we're gonna allow. Most importantly, we had, United Nations, we do lots of things, family. Our work, yes, miss.
I have a question, and she told me to raise my hand, so she raised her.
When you finish, we just want to look about the socio-political spaces that we're in, but this is about being at home with the family. The difference between what we do as a company and what other companies do, and I make this comparison so that you can make an informed decision about who takes you to the continent. We work in these spaces. It's not, we don't come as visitors. They know us. They've known us sometimes 20 years now. We're getting kind of old, man. But they know us. We work grassroots and grass tops. And when we say that we work grass tops, we mean we work at the African Union, we work at the United Nations, we are integrated into the governments of the regions that we go through. And that doesn't matter when you're doing the grassroots experiences with the artists. What matters is if something goes wrong, we can get on the phone, no matter what bush you're in, and we can do something about it if things go wrong. So your contacts don't mean anything when everything is going right. It's if something goes wrong. That's when your contacts matter. And so what we're saying is that we as an organization are part of that insurance policy outside of your travel insurance because we have relationships. In Africa, the relationship currency is your banks. You have to know somebody. And so I love watching, our people work because whether I'm there or not with you, and I may or may not be, we have many curators. I can tell you that I have a relationship currency where the people there see me as a part of the family. And I hope that as you all continue to travel to these regions, you'll have families that adopt you and you'll be a part of the family. At first, I saw it as favoritism because I was trained in this European school of thought. Oh, y'all showing favorites. Why you give them a cheaper price than you give us? But then I grew to appreciate that somebody would be loyal to you. Then it reminded me again of my Blackness, how what happens in this house stays in this house. We don't talk about family just because it happens, because what happens in the house stays in this house. So some of the things that I've begun to unlearn by working in Africa, you also had these experiences. Having that been said, yes, we work in the United Nations. I don't necessarily want to talk about that today, Bible Haki. I want to hear from you all. Again, this is a conversation, and y'all not saying enough. We got the elder here. We need at least one person from each table to say something and contribute to the vibration of the faith. Well, elder ladies first. So we will go to the mouth, and then we will come back to the
My question is, does Baltimore still have a city relationship with any African country. In 1978, I went to Liberia on a Fulbright grant. They chose Liberia because Bonga in Liberia was a sister city. So Morgan University and a few Baltimore City teachers or employees of Baltimore City schools went to Liberia. I have not heard in recent years anything about any kind of sister city relationship with any African country. That was my first trip, and I've been to 13 African countries.
Yes, plan for the.
Do you know anything about any other sister city programs on that continent?
So I'm gonna ask you to talk to the governor, because that sister city was established from the gubernatorial level with Liberia. It's been defunct because the when you establish a sister city, you need to determine what that means. Is it a picture and a photograph, or are you gonna get rid of the tariffs that allow you to now trade and bring products from one side of the coast to the other side of the coast? Are you gonna do things like create fellowships and visa-free restrictions to one side or the other side? Or are we gonna have a problem getting our artists over here to this soil? There needs to be funding and supported in that way. And so that legislation, in my opinion, it was a toothless tiger. And it was a toothless tiger because there was no support. It was ceremonious at best. Africans love ceremony. So we'll go and run and take the picture and wear our finest. But at this point in our organization, we need more than a ceremony. And so I think with our president, Governor Moore, Westmore, maybe it's time to have that conversation again. But I'll tell you that our last president was more interested in exchanging with South Korea, and not. So, hey, who knows? I'm ready. But if you're ready, we can have that conversation together.
Thank you for your answer.
Can you tell us the country that we bring?
Wow. I've never been to Ghana. I thought I would go to Ghana because my cousin was married to a Ghanaian doctor that she met in college here. He started the sickle cell program in Ghana. He got $1 million grant to start a sickle cell program in Ghana. And I always thought I would go when they went. He has recently passed away and I've never been to Ghana, but I've been to Liberia, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Gambia, Egypt, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa. I don't know, I've lost count.
Let's go. Throw them.
I'm 88 years old. I can't remember the rest.
Tunisia, I love it. Our young people, we love passport stamps. And so we're gonna make sure that we do a nice long layover in Morocco on our way to the continent. And so they will have a chance to go check into their hotels, wrap their bags, and they want to see some of the things that the king of Marrakesh and Casablanca and they covered in that area.
Because all the countries are different. People think of Africa, if you notice on the news, they'll say such and such happened in France, Spain, and Africa. Like Africa is one country. There are 50-some countries there. They are very different in their culture. And we Americans don't seem to always get that.
Thank you for the education.
I had a question, but he's asking about Liberia. The former president of Liberia is a member of my organization. I'm president of the Baltimore division of Marcus Falls UNIA. So if there's something you would like, I could connect with Sister Ken and give you some information. He's not the president now, we got to hold it
I
up.
know,
But
the former president was my sorority sister before I was there.
his wife, he said his wife, oh, the former president.
The former- Well, the female president,
Oh, wow, okay.
years ago, who no
Okay.
longer with us,
Yeah, so,
was a member of my sorority. She was not at the time when I was there,
yeah,
but subsequently.
yeah, but we have a division.
She was an
there.
AKA.
Okay, oh, wow.
She's an AKA, I don't know that she.
Shout out to the AK. But we have a school there, a farm there, and we are kind of like in the community a little more than just like regular stuff. So I can definitely get some information into something once what's happening now. But thank you for that. But I didn't have a question. I just.
Well, Zach Gardner.
Black Sabbath. I wanted, excuse me, I wanted to share, cause you asked about what we thought of Africa before we kind of decided that Africa was dinner. And, you know, I remember telling my family when I went to college and came back to celebrate Thanksgiving, I said, I'm African. And they're like, well, we black. I said, I'm black, you know, you're black. I said, no, I'm African, right? And I stood on that. And to this day, like, I still feel that very strongly. But one, you know, in doing like research and looking into the different cultures of Africa, I think one point she pointed out is there's multiple countries, 67 countries, and they have states, right? Nigeria has 36 states, you know, so you got to think about the fact that there's a diversity there that we can only like imagine, you know what I mean? It's like we don't know the inner workings of the governments there and what they go through and how their government operates. But it's important for us to learn that and look at that because we can glean from that information here and operate the way some of those places are, because those are black governments, you know, and that's very important for us. But something else that I like, and I'm 43 years old now, it's only been a couple years ago as I was learning Swahili that I realized how many African countries speak English, right? So Tanzania, they made their official language Swahili. But right next door, Kenya, their official language is English. And that's because of trade. So English has, or you know, our language has a big influence over there. So we can actually connect, right? We don't have to learn these languages to connect with Africans. We can speak English. They speak English. It's not as hard as you think. So sometimes we create imaginary barriers that aren't really there. So you can go there and actually get around. You don't always need an interpreter. It is helpful to know people, you know, just like any other country like Haiti or places like that. You've got to know someone who's there or you get taken advantage of, like anywhere else, like Mexico, for example. But Africa, you know, a lot of countries do speak English. So just keep that in mind when you think about traveling there. You don't have to go take a class to learn their language. You can just go.
Because I listen.
Let's hear from some people that want to answer the question. The question was, say it for us again, Brother Frank.
What did you think about Africa before you realized Africa was in you?
Is everybody here an African?
What did you think about?
Yeah.
No. Realize that.
Yes. I didn't see racial any. You're not African. Absolutely. Including yours should be up.
Yeah.
Because Africa is the cradle of all life, culture, creed. It was the beginning of the human race. So that means that everybody here should know that they're an African. And it doesn't mean that we all relate to Africa the same way. Again, some people go to Africa and they become more African. Me, I became more Black. I started to see the African in myself and in my family and in the vibration that I had on this one. And so I appreciate that so much. More from the audience. I see a lot of questions in the faces. You ask us questions about Africa. Bring us to the test. Test us out.
I don't have a question about Africa, but, and I've enjoyed every minute that I've been here. But I was told that, or I understood that this would be explained in some way, don't you, if there's going to be something. Will there be some explanation? Or is it just, this was an appetizer?
So it is an appetizer. In front of you, there's a small dessert called chin chin. In front of you, you also have a coffee covered, a chocolate covered coffee bean. And you also have a Ghanaian produced chocolate bar. So that is a conversation that really takes us into land and food sovereignty. What we realize on the African continent is that it is the breadbasket of the world. The phones that you all carry, they only work because of a mineral inside of that country. You can see half of the flag right there. Can somebody tell me what flag that is right there? Yellow star, red stripe, African scholars. I guess you need to see the whole thing, right? Brother Charles, can you help us hold the door open so that our African scholars can tell us which flag this is? Now that you see it in its full glory. No, no, that flag is the flag of Congo.
I said it.
Congo. And we sell them in this room. It's only working because of the rich minerals of the whole thing. Coal is produced in the Congo. And as a result, they've experienced civil war and Goma and people. Our organization, we work in Congo, in Goma, where the young people are using things. So this in front of you is not just a snack. I hope that you'll eat it. Chin chin, chocolate covered coffee bean, and a Ghanaian produced chocolate bar. It's a conversation about resources from the African continent that benefit everybody but the African continent and African people. So this chocolate bar was produced in Ghana. Clap for Ghanaian chocolate producers. Thank you so much, the Snicker bar and all of the Reese's TC cups. The Mars company, they get 80% of their chocolate from Ghana, and they get the other 20% from Côte d'Ivoire. And none of those people even have the infrastructure, the ones that are cultivating the cacao, to even build a school and electricity for their villages. But Mars, this company, exploiting. So we support these Ghanaian golden chocolate companies. And that's why each one of you will take a chocolate bar home with you today. Can everybody stay in front of you? Maybe you see the chocolate covered coffee bean. So these coffee beans, and these coffee beans are produced in the Swiss hills of Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is the tallest mountain in Africa. And on that mountain, they produce. So when you think about Starbucks, they're getting this coffee dirt cheap, selling it to you for $10 a cup. And they're giving those people pennies on the dollar. Yes. For some of the highest quality coffee in the world. So when you think about coffee and you think about Starbucks, think about Kilimanjaro. Okay. Think about the coffee fields in Kenya. And think about fair trade. That's coffee. Here, the heck it says Lipton iced tea. All of that tea is grown in Kenya, in Yankee County, in that first ground that we call the cradle of civilization. And last but not least, in front of you, you have chin chin. This is a fried dough. You may see it. It's similar to a West African cracker. Let's call it the West African vanilla wafer. That's chopped up and squared. My mother said it's sweet crouton. That's what it's called. But I am using it on your charcuterie board today to have a conversation about health in our community. What happened to us in the diaspora is that we began eating a diet that was foreign to our bloodstream. We began eating a diet that was foreign to our blood pressure. And now we have non-communicable diseases at a higher rate. And now the warfare is on our very plates. And so we want you to take this food home. By all means, don't leave it with us. So we have carry-out trays so that you can take the lentil stew, so that you can take the egusi with the melon, so that you can take some of the pineapple ginger. We want you to take this food with you and this sweet crouton from your plates, because we want you to have a taste of what your ancestors' diets were. Hopefully, it'll keep you from getting that diabetes if you don't already have it. And if you don't already have that high blood pressure, let's lower it, even just for today. So that's all, Mom. Thank you for asking the question. Are there any more statements or questions? Yes.
I know you tell me about with guys, money for next, how much it costs.
So honestly, we have a trip every other month. For a different group. Yes. We're there quite a bit. And so our next trip will be in March. Later this year, the Ghana's Conference of Prague Declarations. This is the African Union's year of preparatory justice. And so at the end of Ghana, There's going to be a tour that goes Dr. Ron Daniels with the Institute of the Black World, Kim Howard with Reparations United, Dr. Joy DeCruz, she wrote Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, Anaya with the Global Healing Circle of Reparations. So the tours that we offer to the public are usually the ones that we curate ourselves because we want the intention to engage the people. But honestly, there's a tour every other week. So March, April, May, but we'll also be fundraising. Maybe you say today, I can't afford to do it. Let us work with you over the course of a year. We can help you get there. Let us be a part of your Africa campaign, right?
Yeah.
Question, something? Yes, so you should all have a bracelet in front of you. I don't want to stand on my soapbox, but just because you mentioned it, I promise this will be the last thing I said. And then I'm gonna ask you all to like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram for Tide Got Tours. And I'm gonna go about the business and ask you to come and get this food and I'll take it back. But the last thing I'm gonna talk about are these bracelets. It's important that we reclaim our global cultural economy. And so one of the things we're doing is we're working with the local bead makers in every region where we work. And you're holding two calls. The Chinese written letters in the white beads are the reminder of the journey that we still have to take. When you open that, you'll be reading about one of the experiences that we offer. You should have a journey that is the Freedom Ride. The Freedom Ride is how we tell our story here. But then on those bracelets, you have beads that are handmade. If they're white or brown, they're made by the Luo. The Luo, they currently reside in what is now Kenya, and they migrated from the Hell Brazil. So you also find them in Uganda at the source of the Nile River. You'll find them throughout the white and brown beads. You also should see a colored bead. That colored bead is made by the sister to the Maasai people. These people are called the Karamojong. I don't expect you to digest that, but I want you to wear this bracelet with pride and know that it was handmade just for you. Thank you guys again for being here. I'm gonna pass it back over to Baba Haki, who I'm sure invited people all here one by one. With the fire and the car and the elbow. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you for coming by. I know you're great. Thank you.
No, I was thankful to get a bracelet. I thought I had.
Appreciate it. And holy butterfly, the heart. Thank you, Queen. And brother from Ghana with his children, right? Yeah. So we have a lot of food here, right? So we have some robots, and please enjoy the rest of the museum, taking some pictures. And there's a store on the other side. Let me can somebody go get Mama Kiki and see if you want to say anything? You want to say? I was going to tell a story while I was waiting for mine. Yeah, come on. Y'all, I don't know if y'all really believe that I was a storyteller. So I figured I would tell y'all a good short story. Me, I might have heard it before. So America is a melting pot, and we's all some kin. This ain't no joke. Prove it to you with the short story written by Paul Lawrence Dunbar called Kinfolk. Now, Melinda, she was deep in love with this here boy she knew. And it was quite the proper thing because he was in love with her too. So she hastened home to tell her Paul that surely she would wed one likely Rufus Brown when Paul looked up and said, "No, child, you can't do that. You'll have to find another. Don't tell your mom. But Rufus Brown, and sure you'll have to be there." Well, Melinda shed a few soft tears, then slowly went her way. But soon she found another boy, and she hastened home to say, "Now, Pop, I got a man, that Smith boy down the street. He ain't got no bad habits, and he sure can dress up me." But Paul, he looked over and slowly shook his head and said, "No, child, you can't do that. That Smith boy ain't no half brother." Well, Melinda, she forgot her oath, and she blurted out at her mother, "Paul said I can't marry Rufus Brown because he be my half brother." And when I turned to Sonny Smith, although it seemed like treason, but Paul said I can't marry him
on the count of the same reason. Well, mother said, honey child, don't you cry. Put on your wedding cap, marrying one of them boys that you like, cause you ain't no kidding Pat. That's info. That's info. That's info.
I know before you were born.
Oh, my goodness. And my wife is an AK.
I know.
So give her Mama Kiki.
Mama Kiki should say something. Oh, no. I go. You all met Mama Kiki, she owns this, decision. So we want her to say a few words and. And then there are other parts as well. It's one of. Amen.
Good job singing to you all this. I hear the food was amazing. You had chicken.
I did.
Okay.
I put it in.
Okay. Good. You did good. You had a chicken.
Yes.
Yeah, you probably had more than one. Anyway. I don't know what's in here, but I guess it's just to say something about the museum. And what you invited partly for today. How many of you are planning your trip to Ghana already? Not you. That will be amazing. I don't have a report of, from the previous group that went last year, but I have heard that it was amazing. So, you all let me know if you need any contacts in Ghana or anything like that. Or maybe somebody can put in this week. I'm gonna wait. Thank you very, very much. I don't want to go into the Sankofa story. I know some of you all the way from Charles Street. We were on Charles Street as a shop from yes, for over 25 years, and I recognize some of you. We moved over here to Popeye because I had this dream of opening a children's museum to help our children, and all children really, make the connection to their heritage. We heard a lot of the time from adults. Well, I didn't teach us this in school. I didn't know that, And so the idea was to start with the children. Start a project that would allow the children to share about their heritage. What is this saying? This is a saying from, I forget his name, but a people without a knowledge of their culture is like a tree without. We don't want our roots to die, do we?
No.
We don't want our roots to die. So we are starting with the children, and I tell you, the adults who accompany the children here seem to enjoy this space more than the children, because they hear the history, they hear the geography, they are doing things, everything here is interactive. And they tell you this is phenomenal. We don't know why people don't know about you. We want you to go and be our ambassadors. You don't want to hear next year or 2 years from now, especially with all that's going on in the world right now, that we close because we had no business. I don't want to do this because we have to put a lot of time and sweat, not just mine, but people who support us. So we want to be able to thrive. We want to be able to teach the community. We want our children to know who they are, because we think identity is very, very important for children growing up. So anyway, this stage, let's just put this in here. This stage that you're in was is available for rent for all kinds of things if you are interested. Feel free to talk to me, or you can call me later. And Haki had also mentioned the shop. We have a good shop. He came with us from Charles. If you've never been there, feel free to walk down and look at it. You don't have to buy anything there. You can tell me about it. So we thank you very much for supporting us. And have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You can stand in front of the camera.
All right, so we are grateful to be here for What Up Baltimore. We appreciate Lady Day, Dr. Jenkins for, reporting this amazing Ghana Independence Day 68 years ago. Kwame Nkrumah laid the foundation, the first country to gain its independence in Africa, laid the foundation for many other countries. And so we was grateful as the Teaching Artists Institute to continue this great work. We're grateful for everyone that came out and participated and had good food and shared stories and gave out citation awards. The mayor's office and of children and youth success, Delegate Malcolm Ruff, Delegate Bernice North from Montgomery County. So we're grateful. Miss Deidre Hawkins came out. Sister Kim Poole, who was traveling throughout Africa. Queen Mother was here. And so we had a good mixture. We had a indigenous brother from Ghana, a brother from Ghana that was here. So he came with his family. So we had a good mixture of Ghanaians. And so we're just pleased with the diverse audiences that came together here today. So this is what it's about.
Just wanted to let you know that the host of this show,